Hi, this is David Jusick, and I'm here with my buddies Justin and James, and we're here at the world headquarters for Ping Golf in Phoenix, Arizona, and it is wedge fitting time. Justin, what have you got new for 2024?
Yeah, so we've got some new wedges here, David. It's our S159, and we've got a couple of different grind options here in both our chrome and midnight finishes.
Cool, so let's find out which grind options might be right for me.
So first thing we're gonna ask with the Wedge Grind app is what's your average score?
Okay, so between 75 and 85.
Okay, we'll continue. Next, we're looking at your pitching wedge carry distance.
Pitching wedge carry, probably about 130.
Okay, we'll go 130. And then do you know what loft your current pitching wedge is?
46.
Highest lofted wedge you play today. And then if you could answer a couple questions about your typical turf conditions, and then typical divot depth. How about on your typical sand conditions? And on pitch shots, do you have a preferred technique? Do you typically hit everything square? Do you like to open the face a little bit? And then as far as ball position goes on pitch shots, so now we're gonna spit out a gap, kind of loft and grind recommendation for you.
Okay. So Justin, the app said that I'm a prime candidate for a T grind and a 60-degree wedge. What were the criteria? What were the things that made the app decide 60T might be the right fit for me?
Yeah, so a couple of things are going to recommend the T grind for you. It's our thinnest sole. Number one, the turf conditions that you recommend, that you said that you played in.
Yep.
Number two, the ball position being a little bit further forward in your stance. And then number three being that you like to hit some more open face shots on your pitch shots.
Right, okay, yeah. So for me, basically up in New England, I get thick rough, it tends to be soft, it tends to be wet. Those are the kind of things that I'm gonna be feeling with. I like to see the ball get up in the air and try and stop it quickly because the greens tend to be a little bit firm and kind of slopey. So that sounds like T grind for you guys and to the app.
Absolutely, yeah.
Perfect, okay, let's hit some shots and see how it goes.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
It's spinning. I mean, that ball hit and it checked and the ball popped up.
Yep.
I mean, so it didn't hit and scoot. So I know that it has to be applying some spin. There's not much club head speed on a shot that I'm trying to hit, what, 20 yards?
Yeah,
I mean,
about 20
actually
yards.
Pitch the ball 10 yards at this point.
And roll it out.
So, but it clearly generates, some pretty ample spin to be able to have a lower trajectory, but then that first hop goes up.
Yep.
So that's telling me spin, right?
For sure, yeah.
Okay.
How do you feel about the trajectory on those couple shots?
I would personally love to see it go up just a little bit more.
Okay.
I mean, it's something that I'm opening the face. That one's a little bit better, but
yeah.
It's an intimidating shot.
For sure.
This one's hard.
Yeah, it's kind of what we like to do is put
Right off the
players
bat,
in
try
a
to torture the
little
person.
bit
Yeah.
more of more difficult shot
So
scenario.
you put a different wedge in my hand here. What's
I
the
did.
difference in the sole configuration between this one, a W, and the T that you had me starting with?
Sure. So this is our wide sole or W sole here. This is going to have kind of your maximum forgiveness. So it's going to allow you to, on some of these off-center, more poor contact shots, get a little bit of a better result with it. But you were recommended the T based on some of the turf conditions. So this is something that I would say would probably not benefit you in kind of the softer turf conditions. Would you say so, James?
Right. And
So
especially with your ball position, you having it that much forward, that could hinder it as well.
Yeah, I can feel it
So you
actually
see
hitting
how
the ground. No, it's one of those things where as soon as the club made contact with the turf, I knew I was done. Gotcha.
I'm also going to give you the H grind here, which is kind of our half moon grind. So a little bit different than the T. It's got a little bit less bounce, 8 degrees instead of 10 degrees.
Okay.
But it was the second alternate option as recommended by the Wedge app.
So, and just a little bit more on the H grind, that's after the half moon grind. So there's relief on the heel and the toe. So you can do two things. You can lay it open if you need to, have it forward in your stance, or you can kind of, if you were doing a putting stroke, to get closer so that lead edge is not up in the air.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing about the H grind. Really good there.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
That looked like it matched kind of that trajectory that you were talking about.
That's the kind that I would love to see. Yeah. Now coming out of that tight lie into pretty matted, gnarly rough, especially for Arizona. This is down in the bird's nest.
Got it up in there.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
A little further than I wanted to carry it, but the ball certainly popped straight up.
Let me give you the W grind now.
Okay.
Why do
Now,
you
whereas
hit
the W grind on that tight lie was going to be really challenging, the W should probably excel in something like this, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, because the ball is actually sitting up a little higher.
Yeah.
So that bounce really doesn't come into play as much as if you were on a tight lie. There you go. That's your landing zone right there.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, that's
I like
exactly
that.
what I was trying
Very
to do.
good
That's-
shot.
I like
That's
that.
perfect.
Felt like the
good landing
bounce,
zone.
yeah, bounce came into play a little bit on that one. It seemed like,
Sure did. I mean,
yeah.
I hit further behind,
Right.
but it
Yeah.
kept working its way through that ground, and I could feel the club still trying to get me forward to get through the ball.
Right.
And it came out perfectly. Okay, so now we've got a slightly uphill lie. We're back into the rough. We're going to that back black flag, so we're downhill maybe about 25 yards or so, and tee grind.
Tee grind.
Okay,
Let's get started with it. Yeah.
That's
Nice.
exactly
That's nice.
what I was drawing up in my
Yep.
head.
Awesome.
That's nice right there.
Much higher.
Mm-hmm.
It worked actually through the ground more than I thought it would. I was anticipating that I would get some resistance, and maybe I tried to subconsciously swing a little bit harder. That was like a knife. I mean, I never felt any resistance whatsoever, and the ball just popped straight up in the air.
In there.
And it worked.
And
right
got
through.
out really
Got
good.
right out, yeah.
That
was deep.
Nice.
and it ends
The
up
best one
Look
yet.
at that.
a foot from the cup. Okay, Justin, James, you guys have seen me go around this short game course. I can see why you guys don't have very many friends. Those are some tough shots out there. Some of them came off actually really, really well. You had a recommendation from the app. You had your eyes and your experience. What do you think in terms of like fitting for me for wedges? What should I be thinking about in the ping lineup?
Well, I like the H grind for you the best.
Okay.
A little bit more versatile, and again, you can open it up. You can get up close if you needed to do a little bump and run, which is, I know, is not your go-to, but it's an option. So, and if it's a little wet for conditions, that allows you to get through the turf a little easier playing with that H grind versus the T grind.
Gotcha. Any other feedback or anything that I should be aware of from your end?
Yeah, I agree. I think with both the T and the H, we saw kind of how much better they did for you, especially out of that first shot with the tight lie, where the W, just all that bounce was really punishing on some of those shots. So I agree with James, especially on the H. We saw it kind of perform really well out of more of the rough conditions for you, and based on turf conditions and kind of your ball position and wanting that maximum versatility, definitely going to be the H.
Some really, really cool innovations. The idea that wedge fitting is really difficult under the best of circumstances, but to be able to have an innovation like that app, to be able to give people a good recommendation, but at the same time, it just goes to prove that you need to get out and hit shots. You need to put that stuff into real world situations. And what we learned is that we were probably on the right track with what the app told us, but then your experience in real world situations showed that the second choice was actually the first one in this case. So it just goes to prove once again, you need to get yourself custom fit for every club in your bag, especially your wedges.